So you can see create chunk mesh here. This function right here, you put in a position and then whether it's flipped, so whether it's going to be ground or whether it's going to be ceiling, and it'll automatically create a mesh using Perlin noise. So Perlin noise is pretty cool because if we do mathf dot Perlin noise, you can put in an X and a Y position to it, and then it will return a number between 0 and 1, but it'll be smooth. So it's kind of like the sine function where it smoothly interpolates between different values. But this is kind of like a 3D sine function, but it's random. So if I Google Perlin noise, you can see it has it's just kind of random looking, but it's not just white noise. It kind of smoothly interpolates between the random values, and it repeats itself, which means when I'm creating this mesh here, so what the mesh actually is just a plane. So if I create a plane here, and you look at it, you can see this plane is made up of many triangles. So I'm basically creating a plane like this in the code, and then instead of setting the Y position of each vertex to be 0, I set the Y position of the vertex to be the Perlin noise. So you can see here, I create vertices, triangles, and UVs for the texture coordinates. And then I loop through the vertices, and I pretty much just say X position, Y position are based on the loop, so it just creates a plane, which is pretty straightforward. And the height is based on the Perlin noise of the X and the Y position. So that'll automatically create, and I'll go into here and pause and show you an individual segment. If we go down to one of these, you can see, well, it's probably hard to see, but you can see the outline of the individual triangles. And if you go to the side, the Y position has just been set by Perlin noise. And then since Perlin noise is smooth and very predictable, I can actually just put multiple of these chunks next to each other, and they seamlessly line up, and you can't even tell that there's a seam between them when you're playing the game. And then from an above view, well, there's a lot of obstacles, so it'd be hard to show the actual chunks. There's also fog, which turns it black. But you can see it's just a grid of many of these. And then as the player moves forward, it creates more in front of them and deletes them behind them. So if I can even just click and drag this around, you can see it's creating the world around it and destroying it behind it, kind of like chunk generation in Minecraft. Although this isn't multi-threaded, so you can go as fast as you want. It'll always keep generating. It'll just lag. So I have another example of mesh generation in a different project. And after this class, I'll post, all these are on GitHub, so I can just post the links to these projects if you want to look through them.
Sure, that'd be good. You can send me the link and I will, yeah.
And I'll put a README there, and I'll put some links to good resources, both videos and written tutorials.
You actually can put it in the discussion part. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, so far there's only on my start post. No one actually use it.
All right, so this is a project I've actually finished. So it has a UI. This wasn't just a prototype. If we go to Endless, it's sort of an infinitely generated tube, and you rotate around the tube and try not to hit the walls. So if I pause this, the way this actually works is it's creating toruses. So a torus is just a donut shape if you're not familiar with it. And since it's all just mathematical, it's pretty easy to find an equation for a torus on Wikipedia or whatever, and then plug in some values, and then make some parameters like what the radius of the torus should be, how wide it should be, and then the angle of it. So I'm not generating an entire donut. You can see I'm generating a section of them. And then I automatically put the pieces of the torus together seamlessly, and then I have the player move through it. And then I also have it fill with obstacles. So if you look at the top view while I play the game, I'm actually just going to go to the player. And disable the mesh collider so I no longer die. You can see it just creates them in front of you and destroys them behind you. So it creates an infinite game. And the nice thing about procedural games like this is once you've set up the code that generates it, it's pretty easy to make levels because you just set up parameters for what you want the level to look like. So if I go to my level code here, this isn't a particularly well-organized project, so I don't know if I'd recommend following this, but I'll post the code anyway. You can see an entire level is just saying how I should place some obstacles. So I don't have to like make a 3D model of each individual level and store that. So even though it is procedural, it's not necessarily random because I just say, put an obstacle here, here, skip some space and put another obstacle there. So it's really quick to make a whole bunch of levels for a game. Or of course there's an endless mode. So I don't have too much else to show unless there's any questions.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Callum. Great. Do anyone has any specific questions? Or so Jacob had a question, is Unity the same? And I think actually already kind of answered. Is that right?
Okay, so there's two things. There's the operating system that you build Unity, that like you use Unity with, and then there's the platform that you build your project to. So if I go to File, Build Settings, I can actually select many different platforms. So even though I'm on Windows right now, I can set it to build for PC, iOS, Android, even WebGL. It'll build for that. The only thing is, so Unity builds will work well in Linux, but the Unity editor doesn't work so well in Linux. So it may or may not work for you. It's just not supported as well as Windows and Mac version.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Okay. Jacob say
Audio
also,
attachment to objects. Can you hear the audio when I'm playing this? Okay. So there's a few ways to do audio. So in Unity, I'll just create an empty object here. Well, actually, let me look at the camera. So there's two components to do with audio. There's an audio listener, and then I'll make a new object. And there's an audio source. So you would probably put the audio listener on the camera. That'd make the most sense. And the object source will have different properties, like how far away the sound should be, like the loudness of it, the maximum radius and stuff like that. And then based on the location and how close these two objects are, it'll change how it sounds. And it'll also do stereo. So if you're wearing headphones, you'll be able to kind of tell where the sound comes from. If you want to just play a sound without it being spatial, like say you have music or just for whatever reason you want the sounds to just be as they were recorded, there's this spatial, or I don't know, it's one of these sliders. I think it's spatial. I can't remember which one, but it's basically a slider that changes it between being completely 3D and being completely 2D. So yeah, this actually is the right one. If you put it here, it'll work like real life where proximity matters. If you put it here, it'll be like music. It'll just play the sound.
So yeah, thanks. So is Jacob
That's
has
another
another question? Another question seems right. Go ahead. Yeah, I think he got another. Yeah. No.
Particle effects. All right. So again, there's another component. Keep in mind, any of these components, if you really wanted to, you could program your own one. But Unity has so many built in. There's not a lot of reasons to program things that have already been made. So if we go add component, there's a particle system component. You can see right now we have no shader, no texture or anything, so it's just creating these pink squares. But there's more parameters than you'd ever probably need, and you can make this do exactly what you want to do just by following a tutorial or messing with these parameters. There's also another thing in, I don't know if it's a preview feature or preview build, but it's basically like a beta thing. There's Unity. So you use a node-based layout like this to create particle effects, basically. So you can get really complex effects with particles by using the effect graph.
That's cool. Any other questions? Well, still a few more minutes. Yeah. So one thing I think, yeah, I think, is that okay? Caleb, you think let's try the discussion section in the Canvas. You can post this thing there. And then if you guys have any questions, maybe I know it's probably not as good as Slack, right, or Google Meet. This is maybe easy to organize from class point of view. Let's try that one. Is that okay? So Caleb said you will post the GitHub stuff online, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So do we have any other questions? I do get some message. So I guess the one thing is for the grading for the final project, right? I guess probably I should say a few words. As in the beginning class, I think you saw we always have this Hall of Famer thing. Basically, we ask the student, actually, you guys decide who is the best project, right? So each time we have usually we have one champion and 2 runner-up, 3 bronze medals, or sometimes we have 3 runner-ups, 3 bronze medals. Yeah, that's all depends. So like 7 groups. If you are about in that 7 groups, 7, 8, it depends. It's really depend on the vote. You get an A even you don't get anything else. Yeah, so that's automatic A. But a lot of times students say, do I have to be in that group to get an A? That means I am now in this best project. I'm getting A. That's the answer is no. You can still get an A even though you don't belong to that whatever groups, right? So so I think a technical question right now, I don't know how to do it. I probably need you guys' suggestions. How do we do the vote? Before I basically give a paper ballot and each of you guys just check it. We no longer can do paper ballot right now. So anyone have any suggestion? How can we do it? Should we still do it?
Just if you want to send messages on Zoom, we can do it privately. So if we're going to watch them, we can.
Okay, yeah, that may be a good suggestion, right? So we do a private thing, right? But can you do attachment or you just have to be text? In the private message, can you attach it? Because I can send you guys a template. So you with the group list, right? Oh, the other way, you just tell me which group you're saying 1, 2, 3, right? That kind of thing, right? Just so private message, I think is one way. Yes, Jay, thanks for the suggestion. I think if I don't have better suggestion, we'll go with the private thing. But then you really have to remember the group number, right? And then because usually I also want to solicit some comment you have. Is that so? That's what I'm saying. Is it possible for the chat to send attachment? Do anyone know? Like instead of just the plain text, can you send me a message? No, the message with text. No one knows. Okay. Well, that will be we can still do that. And then this just take me a little bit of effort to collect all this votes. So that's the one thing. So we'll basically I will ask you to select, right, vote the top 3 projects. But since we have a lot of time, so then we'll count the ballot and then I will put you guys there. And in general, I also want you to have an opinion for each group. So because so that's the other part, right? I don't think I can give all groups 100%, right? That probably is not the realistic because I want to see, right? I really want you guys to put some effort. I know this is a very short time, so that the expectation is different this time. But I think right. So especially you show this Unity stuff, you can do a lot of fancy stuff, and so I do encourage to work pretty as much as you can, right? And I know this is a difficult time, so. Yeah, but you can see there's a lot of possibilities there on the game, right? On different stuff. So we can talk about more on Thursday, right? On this thing, but you guys can have some thinking about this the ballot stuff. At least right now, I want to keep it because I have been keeping it since I came to Mizzou. So I hope I will continue so that you guys' name will be presented to the next class I teach, so they will remember you. Okay. If you don't have any other questions, so thank you everyone. So Thursday, so what I will do, I will list the groups, right? 1 to 15 that I already know. We will probably have other students who don't know. Hopefully they will show up on Thursday. So Thursday, we will start with group 1 to group 15. Each one you have 5 minutes. And that will basically use up the whole class. And then the remaining student, hopefully they will just do the other time, after the, All right, so upload your proposal. Basically, it's I already have the description there, and upload your PPT slides before the class. Yeah, so that I have something to look at.
We're supposed to upload what now before class next time?
the proposal is due on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and also you should supposed to have a few slides of PowerPoint, and then we'll just share screen from group 1 to 15 and whatever the other groups we have. All right, so and do we still have any? Yeah, so I will post it there. If you're still looking for groups, maybe they can look at it. All right. Otherwise, I will see you on Thursday. All right. Thank you. Bye bye.